The Cleveland House of Horrors incident involved the prolonged captivity and abuse of 3 women in a residential home in Cleveland, Ohio, USA. The case revolves around Ariel Castro, a former school bus driver, and the captivity of 3 women, Michelle Knight, Amanda Berry, and Gina De Jesus. The women were abducted separately between 2002 and 2004, when they were aged 20, 16, and 14, respectively. Castro held them captive for nearly a decade in his residential home in Cleveland. Ariel Castro kidnapped each of these women and imprisoned them in his home. He subjected them to physical and emotional abuse, including repeated sexual assault. The women were confined to locked rooms and kept in a state of constant fear. They were rarely allowed outside, and any attempts to escape were met with threats and violence. The women endured unimaginable suffering during their captivity, enduring physical beatings, sexual abuse, and prolonged isolation from their families and the outside world. They were forced to live in deplorable conditions, with inadequate food and sanitation. The captivity of these women remained a hidden horror for years, until May 6, 2013, when Amanda Berry managed to escape from the house. She had been able to free herself and her young daughter, who had been born during her captivity, and she sought help from a neighbor who called the police. Law enforcement officers arrived at the scene, rescuing Michelle Knight and Gina De Jesus, and arrested Ariel Castro. The shocking details of their ordeal began to emerge as the women were reunited with their families. Ariel Castro was arrested and faced multiple charges, including kidnapping, rape, and murder, related to the termination of pregnancies that occurred during the captivity. He initially pleaded not guilty to the charges, but later accepted a plea deal in which he pleaded guilty to 937 criminal counts in exchange for a life sentence without the possibility of parole, sparing the victims from testifying in a trial. The Cleveland House of Horrors case drew widespread attention and outrage, not only for the horrifying nature of the crimes, but also for the prolonged captivity and abuse the victims endured. It raised questions about the importance of community awareness and reporting in cases of suspected abuse, and the need for improved responses from law enforcement and social services. Ariel Castro was found dead in his prison cell on September 3, 2013, just 1 month into his life sentence. The surviving victims, Michelle Knight, Amanda Berry, and Gina De Jesus, have since worked to rebuild their lives and have become advocates for survivors of abuse and captivity.